The tension in Kingstown is steadily rising as gangs clash in Mayor of Kingstown Season 4, Episode 3. Following the shocking finale of Episode 2, in which Carney is murdered in his home, Episode 3 depicts the aftermath of this tragedy, as well as the burgeoning gang feuds. Unfortunately, things aren't looking much better for police enforcement, with unrest raging throughout the city and Mike McCluskey struggling to retain control. However, conditions in the Mayor of Kingstown are likely to worsen before improving. Carney's death generated quite a sensation in Kingstown, owing to the fact that it foreshadowed something larger. In general, Mike has little issue keeping his people safe, but the merciless technique of executing Carney in his home while his father is in the other room demonstrates that things are changing. Inside the prison, the new warden and her deputy inform everyone of Carney's death, but management shows no emotion. Meanwhile, Mike urges Ian and Stevie of the Kingstown Police Department to find out who was responsible for the hit. After striking an alliance with old-school crime boss Frank Moses, Bunny is given a tour of Moses' operations. Bunny is excited to see how nicely Frank's business is laid out, and he hopes to learn more so that he may advance his life in the same direction of safety and independence. However, while the two exchange secrets, Bunny receives multiple reports of problems in his neighborhood. Bunny clearly wants to make a good impression on his new partner, but when things spiral out of control, it's time for Bunny to seek assistance. Initially, Bunny was informed that some of his younger gang members had departed their stations earlier in the day. Bunny, believing that these adolescent criminals were simply ignoring orders, was preparing to scare them straight. However, when a bag full of body parts appears in his neighborhood, it's evident that something more serious is going on. Bunny is understandably outraged when it is revealed that the cartel was responsible for murdering his young men, chopping their limbs, and then placing them in an open bag. And his new business partner views this as an opportunity to demonstrate his commitment by dealing with the cartel for Bunny. Kyle appears to be recovering slowly inside Anchor Bay, but the wounds he acquired when he arrived at the prison are beginning to show. Kyle agrees to take the medicines prescribed by Callahan in order to relieve his discomfort, but this simple act signals a transformation in the character and his relationship with Callahan. Kyle is now in debt and owes Callahan for his chivalry after accepting the gift. And the fact that Kyle initiates talks with Callahan in this episode is a minor indicator that the transformation is already taking impact. As Ian and Stevie continued their investigation into Carney's death, they stopped at the prison to check out his locker and look for clues. While there, they had some strange contacts with Deputy Warden Torres, who seemed to be very interested in their investigation and asked too many questions. Mike speculated that Torres was involved, and given his peculiar conduct between this episode and the last one, in which he communicated with Roberto Cruz right before the cartel killed Carney, it appears likely that he is. But the real question is how much, if any, the warden is aware of her deputy's misconduct. Robert Sawyer may have been benched from active duty following his incident with Kyle on the bridge last season, but he has long been a target due to his use of excessive force and cruelty in the line of duty. Evelyn, the assistant DA, has been attempting to establish a case against him, but has been thwarted at every point. And when Robert arrives at the courthouse looking for a route back to active duty, he bumps into Evelyn. In front of dozens of witnesses, the two engage a yelling war, and Evelyn expresses her grievances with Robert in a way that enrages him. Finally, as the episode concludes, we witness Frank's men arriving at a cartel safe house, where they are washing blood from a bath and a saw, implying that they were responsible for the attack on Bunny's men. Several of Frank's guys wreak significant damage with great force and effectiveness. However, the young Colombian man imprisoned by Ian in a previous episode, who was also responsible for Carney's death, is able to guide many of his men to safety before eliminating Frank's men. Clearly, this kid possesses abilities that will require more than a tiny hit squad to deal with. Clearly, the gang battle is only getting started in Mayor of Kingstown Season 4, and with powerful hitters on both sides, there will be a lot more blood on the streets before long. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.